Hello everyone, my name is Josh Monroe. This is a quick video about data at rest, in use, and in transit, and the security precautions needed around those states. Data at rest is exactly what it sounds like. It's data that's in a system, in a database, in a network, but is not being used. Interestingly, this data is often the most valuable to a bad actor because data that's kept at rest is data that a entity or business is wanting to hang on to, and maybe some of their more important information. So it's often the highest value target for a bad actor. Data in use is simply data being used on a computer, being edited, copied, augmented in some way. This is actually data's most vulnerable state when it's in use, because what you have is an authorized user who's been allowed access to company data and allowed to change it, allowed to modify it, allowed to save it, allowed to share it, allowed to make errors with it on accident. So this is when data can be its most volatile and its most dangerous because it's being manipulated by someone who we're supposed to trust. Data in transit is also what it sounds like. It's data moving between two networks, or two machines, whether that's over an intranet or internet. It's data being moved from one user or one system to another. With data in transit, of course, you have to take precautions. It's not the most vulnerable because it's not being used, but it is easier to grab than when it's on a network very often. So when you are transmitting data, you want to encrypt it. But more than encrypting it and using keys, where there's symmetrical encryption, where there's a private key being used by both parties. That key often has to be transmitted offline somehow, maybe by courier, so that both parties have it, and they both use that key to unlock the data once it's been it's used to lock the data and then unlock the data on either side of the transit. There's also asymmetrical encryption, where there's a public key that an individual has that everyone can use to unlock what that person encrypts with their private key. These keys are often related mathematically. This is the type of key you would want to use if you are, say, developing software and then distributing it among people. That way you don't have to get each one of those persons a key. Often with this type of transmission, you want to hash the data. What the hash does is it runs an algorithm against the data, creating a specific value. When you have transmitted the data and it's been received, those who receive it can also hash it themselves. And if their hash matches your hash, they know that it has not been augmented in transit and that it's safe to use. So that's the difference between data in transit, in use, and sorry, lost my wording. At rest, in use, and in transmission. Thank you for your time.